Okay, it's time to finish the straight seam. So as you can see in our last video, we completed the straight seam. We sewed on a straight stitch at the 5/8 inch seam allowance with a back stitch at the beginning and end, and we kept our fabric inside out or right sides together. Now we're going to finish this edge of the fabric so that when we put our pants or a project in the washing machine, it does not fray or come apart. So the first thing I'm going to do is trim this seam slightly, and I'm going to trim it to 3/8 of an inch. What that means is this line is at 5/8. I'm going to cut off about 1/4 of an inch, just a little bit, to make sure that my seam allowance is a little bit smaller and perfectly aligned. So all I need to do is place my fabric down, use my scissors, and carefully cut off 1/4 inch. So you can see the amount of fabric I cut off is extremely small, 1/4 inch. But now that seam really is quite perfect, right? Those edges are perfectly aligned. All we need to do to finish this is zigzag that edge to keep it from fraying in the wash. For the zigzag, I like to use the medium zigzag, so that's the second zigzag next to your straight stitch. So I turn the dial to the right, but it's picking this one that's actually to the left in terms of where it is on that position. It sounds a little confusing, but here we go. 1, 2. So that's on the medium zigzag. And my machine's fully threaded. I'm gonna go ahead and put my fabric under the presser foot right at the beginning. And I want this zigzag to be as close to the edge as possible. So make sure that the edge of your fabric is just inside this window on your presser foot. When you look closely, I'll point with my scissors. There is a hole here in the presser foot, and you should be able to just see the edge of your fabric in that hole, okay? So now that I can see that, I'm ready to start zigzagging, just like with our straight stitch. I'll start with a couple stitches forward, and then hold down the reverse button to reverse to the beginning. Sometimes your fabric on zigzag and reverse needs a little bit of a pull to get it to go where you want. Now that I've done my back stitch, I'm going to go ahead and go forward, keeping my fabric just inside that window or aligned kind of with the point of the presser foot. And this will put the zigzag right on the edge of my fabric. I'm just pinching it with my hand, guiding the fabric, keeping it aligned. When my finger gets too close, I'm going to move my hand aside and finish that line of stitching. When I get all the way to the bottom, stop. I'm holding down my reverse button, and I want to do a few back stitches here to secure those stitches. Okay, now it's done. To take this off, remember we need to lift our presser foot, and you can see my fabric's still stuck. That means I need to lift my hand wheel by turning the hand wheel towards me and pulling that fabric out. To trim the threads, make sure you trim them close to the fabric. Leave those tails on your machine for the next time you're gonna sew. I'll trim off these other little threads and show you our finished seam. Now you can see I have a zigzag just on the edge of the fabric, okay? And there's a small back stitch at the beginning and end. And what this does is gives a nice professional look to your pants and keeps everything extra secure. All of these seams will be on the inside of your project, and on the outside, it'll look very professional. So good luck on your sewing and your sewing practice. Thanks for watching this video.